Earthquake today, major tremor predicted for July 24th due to gravitational pull in our solar system. This is a shock claimed by Huma. Earth's position in the solar system is what could cause a major earthquake on our planet today. Conspiracy theorist tweets, this by Sean Martin, Express UK. This is not the first time we hear of people studying the planetary alignments and the gravitational pulls of the bodies in our solar system. There are those who claim that there's even a foreign body at the edges of our solar system that is causing a gravitational influence on the planets in our solar system, and including Earth and our moon. Mercury and the Sun have aligned in a way so that the electromagnetic forces from these planetary bodies in our system could cause a huge quake on our planet. This is what, according to one conspiracy theorist, could happen. He believes the alignment, which began July 21st, could rock the Earth to its core. Actually, he was the one that said that we would have a major quake from the 19th, and we did have a quake in Greece, for example. We were really shook. Half of Greece shook and felt that earthquake. Now, even though it was shallow. He says this one could rock the Earth to its core. Claim made by the New Age earthquake forecaster Frank Hugerbitz. He believes a magnitude 7 quake could hit today or this weekend. Hugerbitz wrote on his website, Deutranium, Earth's alignment with Mercury and the Sun on the 21st could potentially trigger a mid-6 to a low 7 magnitude earthquake, most likely from the 21st to the 24th. Magnitude 7 earthquakes, as we know, is considered a major earthquake. It has the potential to even tear down buildings, especially if they're high-rise, because the high-rise skyscrapers cannot stand more than 7 Richter, 7 magnitude. The tremor can be felt from up to 250 kilometers away from the distance from the epicenter, according to the Richter scale. Hugerbitz reached this conclusion using his Solar System Geometry Index, SSGI for short. It's a computation of a database for a specific time frame of values given to specific geometric positions of the planets, the moon, and the sun. So it calculates where depending on which each planet is, what kind of a gravitational pull or an electromagnetic kick or jolt it would have, for example, on us. He said, after 3 years of observing this system, it became clear that some planetary geometry in our solar system tends to cause seismic increase, while other geometry does not. Also, John Bellini, who is a geophysicist at the U.S. Geological Survey, said we cannot predict or forecast earthquakes. Sometimes before a large earthquake, you'll have a foreshock or two, but we don't know their foreshocks until the big one happens. The USGS completely denies earthquakes can be forecasted, and it writes on its website, neither the USGS nor any other scientists have ever predicted a major earthquake. We do not know how, we do not expect to know how anytime in the foreseeable future. In the meantime, we all know that we had a total eclipse of the sun on July 2nd. And we know from antiquity, especially in the Middle East, where they had very knowledgeable people, especially in mathematics and astronomy, that every time they had a solar eclipse, it was a bad omen because it meant that you would have major earthquakes. And this is what exactly has happened. For example, we had the July 2nd total eclipse of the sun. July 3rd, we had the 6.2 magnitude on the west coast of Cascadia, and July 3rd, that was July 3rd. July 4th, it hit with it ricocheted to Ridgecrest, and July 4th gave a 6.4 magnitude in Ridgecrest in South California, and July 5th we had the 7.1. Southern California. And besides that, it had various bigger quakes in the Middle America and South America as well, let alone Europe. So we have seen an uptick of earthquakes after the total eclipse of the sun. As per antiquity, they knew how to predict this just according to the planetary alignment, in other words, our sun, the moon, and the earth. Just that little bit of gravitational pull does have an influence on our tectonic plates, on our fault lines that would have been ready to give, and they give it a little bit faster because of the fact that you have this alignment, sun, moon, and earth in an eclipse, for example. I'll leave links below for you for this. This is on Express UK by Sean Martin. Now, are they right when they say that, for example, a solar eclipse cannot cause earthquakes? Do solar eclipses cause earthquakes? And the short answer is yes. This is according to the US Geological Survey. So what are they doing? Are they contradicting themselves? Well, it appears so, and this is why. The short answer, they say, is yes, but it's not really the eclipse that increases the probability, but the lunar phase, according to the US Geological Survey. Recent studies have indicated a correlation between high ocean tides and earth tides and earthquakes on shallow thrust faults and undersea subduction zones. Well, there you go. Subduction zone galore on the west coast of the United States, and shallow thrust earthquakes that we had in the Ridgecrest area of Southern California, for example, plus other shallow thrust earthquake faults, other shallow thrust faults around the world, and especially, of course, over the area where we had the totality of the sun going northwest to southeast, cutting over the west coast of US and into the Central America and South America. There you go. And all this, of course, is jostling the whole, jiggling and ringing, making the whole earth ringing like a bell, because these quakes are, of course, felt worldwide. They've even been felt in, for example, the Yellowstone supervolcano. We know that 20 years ago, in 1999, a 7.1 magnitude in Ridgecrest caused an earthquake swarm at Yellowstone a couple of weeks later. The Alaska Denali earthquake caused a quake swarm in Yellowstone a couple of weeks later. The Haiti earthquake caused a Yellowstone swarm a couple of weeks later, and the 8.8 magnitude in Chile caused an earthquake swarm in Yellowstone. So you can see all these things are really tied into each other. So can a solar eclipse trigger an earthquake? ScienceNotes.org. Well, we've already had that answer from US Geological Survey. And that was just basically the sun, the moon, and the earth that was aligned. Can you imagine if you had most of the planets on our solar system aligned, what that would do to Earth? Of course, it would have a gravitational pull. Can solar eclipse trigger an earthquake? The gravitational pull of the sun, the moon, produces tides, so it makes sense gravity could affect plate tectonics and potentially trigger earthquakes. In the solar eclipse, the sun, the earth, and the moon are aligned, so you'd expect the effect to be the greatest. Is there a correlation between eclipses and earthquakes? The short answer is yes, but it's not really the eclipse, but the lunar phase. This is according to US Geological Survey, recent studies indicating a correlation between high ocean tides and earth tides and earthquakes on shallow thrust faults and undersea subduction zones. In the earth tide or body tide, the earth's surface is displaced by the gravity of the sun. The earth's surface, can you imagine? Because we know that recently they've even found that underneath the tectonic plates we have oceans of water. And they're not salty water, they're clear, clean, basically clean drinking water. The ocean tide works the same way, except it's water that moves rather than land. So we have the water bodies moving, plus the Earth's surface just being displaced by the sun and moon. There you go. So both types of high tides occur during the full moon and the new moon as well. That's why I remember a little while ago when we had a full moon and I was videoing the beautiful full moon outside my house. I came up to upload in the house to upload my video, and lo and behold, we had an earthquake. Yes, so we have earthquakes even during full and new moons. Lunar eclipses occur during a full moon, while solar eclipses occur during the new moon. But there are no statistical increase in seismicity activity compared to any other new or full moon. So if you stop to think about it, the alignment between the Earth, Sun, and Moon has to be very precise to produce an eclipse, but the bodies come close to that alignment relatively often. And during Earth tides, the surface of the crust may rise or fall by a few centimeters. The effect of ocean tides is more pronounced. So could that be, as I'm reading this, could that be the reason why every so often we have those ups and downs in the deformation of the crust, the Earth's surface over Yellowstone? When we see those GPS changes in the deformation, we're saying, why is that happening so often? It could be because, if you have a very slight surface over a crater, which is basically sitting on top of the roof of the magma chamber, which is only 2 miles below your feet, I don't know, I'm not a geologist, but that could be a possibility. What do you think? So ocean tides can change sea level, it says here, by over 3 feet, which changes the pressure on subduction zones and the faults near the edge of the continents. How significant is the increased risk? The USGS calculates estimates at 3 times increased risk of an earthquake. This may seem like a lot. The risk at any given time is extremely low. So multiplying it by 3 still yields an extremely tiny probability of an occurrence. The semi-diurnal tides also have an effect on seismic activity and have been connected with aftershocks in volcanic regions. Well, here you go again. Even so, the chance of an earthquake occurring is the same whether it's day or night in the region. So, wow, that's amazing. This is from the horse's mouth, that is from U.S. Geological Survey. So how is it that you have, for example, the geologist from USGS, John Bellini, the geophysicist at U.S. Geological Survey, says we can't predict or forecast earthquakes, yet the USGS comes out saying, yes, the solar eclipse definitely does have, not only on the tides of the water, but also on the earth tide, the earth crust itself. Amazing. So there we have 3 bodies, Sun, Moon, and Earth. By extrapolation, when you have a planetary alignment where most of our planets, or maybe one or more, are in line with the Sun, Moon, and Earth, or Earth, Moon, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, etc., of course you're going to have a gravitational pull, which would cause the subduction zones and the shallow fault areas, etc., to start jiggling around because of the difference in the pressure and the gravitational pull. I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.